Hi, I'm Mr. Latimer, and today we're going to talk about destroying negative inner voices. Just absolutely just crushing it. That sound good? Alright, let's do it. First, let's talk about a basic physics formula that we're going to use to apply to this. Alright, and the formula is force times proper application of force times time or reps. Force, so the tool or the technique, proper application of force, the proper use of that tool, the proper use of that technique, the right angle, the right way, and then time or reps, which is obvious, using it long enough or enough times in repetition. Second, we're going to talk about being determined, which is one of the most important things I talk with about myself and about my clients. You have to want this. You have to want it badly. You have to be consistent. It's exactly the same as an athlete or a martial artist that's training. Training to be better or training for an event. You must train. Now, if you wanted to be an expert, karate person, and you go to the dojo, once a month, well, that's only going to get you so far. But if you go in the dojo 3-4 times a week, well, then you're going to be getting somewhere, right? So it's as simple as that. You must be determined to be consistent, to be determined to use these techniques over and over and over again. All right, now let's get down to the meat and potatoes. So you have a negative voice pop off in your head. And I just had one happen maybe 45 minutes ago as I was preparing for this video. And I'm going through my lines and this and that, and all of a sudden I hear, "You suck," in a voice similar to mine. And of course, I had to fire off with what I'm about to tell you right now. I have a character, several characters created in my head where I parallel the negative voice that pops up. So it goes, "You suck," and I immediately go into one of my characters. First character I go into, I like Scooby-Doo, but I like using that character. I go right into a Scooby-Doo character, and I had the Scooby-Doo character actually say that voice, "You suck, you suck," and I have it do it over and over and over and over again. My second character I go into is from the Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer cartoon, when they go to that island of misfit toys, and I have it be Charlie in the box. "Nobody wants a Charlie in the box," and I have it say, "Oh, you suck, you suck," and I do it over and over and over again. Now I know this sounds silly, and I'm making these silly voices, but what it does exactly what it's supposed to do. What it does. A negative voice hurts you when it seems like it's true. Like if a voice comes up and says, "You suck," and you don't respond to it with anything, and you just sit with that, you start to believe it a little bit. And that's what these techniques are designed to do. To destroy, to cut short, to diminish the effects of that negative voice. So having this silly character, imagining the character, hearing the voice of that silly character, even saying the silly character's voice just like I did, diminishes and crushes the certainty that that is true. Because once you crush that, you've crushed the effect of the voice. Okay, following me on that? All right? Because you don't want it to be true to you. So I use the silly character, silly voice. Now, repetitions. I do it over and over and over again, paralleling that voice that was said in my head. And that's what I want you to do, over and over and over again. Take this seriously, okay? This is one of the best techniques that there are that you can use immediately to immediately stop or to diminish that negative voice that has fired off inside of you. And I don't care what it says, you immediately use that character. So as soon as this video is done, take out a piece of paper, start thinking about a character that you think is really funny, that's really silly, and doesn't have any power over you. And as soon as you have a negative voice fire off, you immediately attach this character that's silly. You start hearing the voice, you see the character, and at least 10 times over and over and over again, you parallel what it says and just have it say it over and over and over again. And see what the effects are. All right, and write me some comments down below after you like this video and subscribe to it, right? So write some comments or some questions that you have in regards to that. The second technique I'm going to show you is right from Neuro-Linguistic Programming, NLP, and it's called the meta model. The meta model requires you to use complex questions, open-ended questions, specific questions. And not only do I use the meta model using the specific questions, how is that so? Why is that so? Why is that true? When did that start to be true? How did it get that way? Has it always been that way? Is it going to be that way in the future? Am I going to suck in the future? How long have I sucked? Was this the first time I sucked? Or is this the 100th time I sucked? How did I suck? What could I do differently so I don't suck? And of course that negative voice is not going to be able to respond to that. But the other thing is, I'm always looking on how to increase the power of the interaction going on inside my head. And this is something that I don't know if I made it up. Maybe somebody else out there has done it. I don't know. I'm giving it to you now. Not only do I create a character to diminish the negative voice coming at me, I also create my own character that is extremely powerful, character or characters, to launch at that silly character over there that's with the silly voice, and use the meta questions. So let's say I use Thanos, yeah. So with my Thanos voice, I know it sucks right here, but I use the Thanos voice, and how does he suck? When did he start to suck? Maybe it's you that sucks. Why does he suck? Ha ha ha. Alright? All of that is to diminish that being true, whatever the negative voice said. So let's review. Okay, you got the physics formula. Force times proper application of force times time or reps. Be determined. Be determined like an athlete, all right? Like a martial artist. You're training for battle. You're training for the inner battle. The first technique we used was create a silly character with a silly voice that you attach to the voice that said something crazy in your head, and you repeat it over and over and over again with the silly voice. And 2, the meta model. Get really specific questions. How? When? Where did this happen? How does he suck? Why does he suck? Has he always sucked? But you use a super powerful voice. One last thing that I'm using right now. I fill a whole stadium with superheroes, like the Super Friends times 1,000 in a stadium, and they're stomping. And I have them talk to this voiceover. Sounds crazy, doesn't it? But imagine the inner effect. Imagine it powerfully, and it will effectively, powerfully help you. All right. Remember to subscribe, put some comments below, some questions. Look for me on Facebook, Ask Mr. Latimer.